Good morning. How's everyone doing today? Yeah, you're all good because of Taylor. That's it. Yeah, great. He's good because Taylor Swift's getting married.
Hey, power to him. I hope they're happy. I was contacted by Uber this week.
Where are you now?
Yeah, they want me to provide taxi service to senior citizens because they found out I have an Oldsmobile.
Another good one.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's better than some.
I got another one.
No.
Know that.
Before we start, we need to start thinking about what our next study is going to be. We're going to be through this one. I know we're only at 16 of those 24, but we're going to be going quickly through a couple of these chapters. So, any thoughts? Eschatology. Okay, we could do that. It'd only take probably one Sunday or so. Probably get it into two, but
But doing one Sunday of just defining terms. Because there's a lot of terms that we use that we don't necessarily understand what it means.
we could do some of that right now. Eschatology, coming from the Greek eschatos, meaning last or end. Study of the end days. There you go. Anything else?
You've done Judges, right?
We've done Judges.
Let's do the
Daniel?
Testament.
We did Daniel. We did Daniel. There was some during COVID, but we've not done Psalms. Psalms would be a tricky one.
It's well,
And, they're both be tricky. And we did Revelation during COVID too. Well, Psalm is if you want to go through every Psalm, that would be a challenge, especially when you get to Psalm 118.
Yeah.
It would just, it's a different type of book, and it would just take a different type of feel. Proverbs would be also called Ecclesiastes for the same reason. Not that it's not impossible, it would just be more challenging.
Ezekiel?
how about New Testament?
Ezekiel would be possible. Ezekiel, I would have to take quite some time to just get back into. That's a fair of a book.
What about ready for the challenge of Psalms? And Proverbs.
What?
I love Proverbs.
I was saying one of my favorite proverbs was a little bit ago. As a dog returns to his vomit, so a fool to his folly.
Well, how about
That's weird.
how about New Testament? One of the New Testament books.
Well, okay, what?
What you get from
Jude.
Jude.
Jude, that's
That would take one Sunday.
I mean, Romans is always good.
We went through Romans.
What we
We
did?
did Romans.
Hebrews.
We did Hebrews. I'm a little concerned, Mom. You mentioned 3 books we've already done while you've been here.
She liked them, she really liked them.
I got a new Bible and I don't have it marked.
Other thoughts? I mean, I think it could be topics too. We'll be thinking about it. All right.
Yeah, Proverbs again.
Who just said that? Everybody just said that. Okay, let's start. Lord, we thank you for the day. We thank you for this chance to be together. Lord, you've given us sunshine and warmth, and Lord, especially the warmth of your love. Through the grace given to us because of Jesus. We thank you for that, Lord. That is the most important thing. He is preeminent in all. We ask that we are just remain in your grace and in your love, and then to be able to live in it and share it in Christ's name. All right, we are at chapter 16. You're kind of in a mind-numbing section. Any questions from last week?
And the second tribe after the first tribe, it was the last tribe to cross. What was that name?
What?
Way to go.
That's about how they were.
Yeah. I did find a couple of very simplistic maps, but might help visualize a little bit more of some. And I've seen different maps. I mean, they're going to be slightly different because, you know, we don't know exactly where some of these things are, but they'll give you at least some indication. And we'll hear about this later, how Simeon is engulfed within Judah. Judah kind of surrounds it. And that's going to be the case for all the cities for Levi that are going to be given later too. But you see here how big Manasseh is. Now I've seen some as West Manasseh up further north here, but huge. Ephraim too is pretty big. So these are the two half tribes and kind of the powerhouses. That tells you how big they were. And we'll hear later on from Manasseh saying, hey, we need more land, and we need more territory.
Because they had that many people?
Yeah, yeah.
Zebulon has a tiny place.
Yeah, some are very small. Dan here is very small. Benjamin's small, but that's not surprising either. Issachar, Zebulun. Yeah.
So did the ones that only got a small part, because why?
Because they were small.
Population?
Population.
Didn't have many kids.
Yeah.
They weren't that.
Yeah.
So, just a curious question, since Simeon was surrounded by Judah, when the
I wondered that too. I don't know. Because I wondered that, but I didn't have time to get the answer. Yeah, I wondered that same thing. Because the question I'm going to say, because I answered it before you even finished, was during the exile, when the northern tribes are carried over into Assyria in 722, and then you just had the southern kingdom of Judah, which we all hear that it's Judah and Benjamin that were left. Well, Simeon was engulfed by Judah, so were they taken away with Assyria, or were they taken away by Babylon in 587? I don't know, because I had assumed that Simeon was taken out with the first, but...
Because I didn't think they were aligned with Judah.
Right.
As the two were split.
Yeah, I didn't think so either. So I don't know, because that was curious to me as well. Good question. Don't know. All right. The allotment of Ephraim and Manasseh. The allotment of the people of Joseph went from the Jordan by Jericho, east of the waters of Jericho, into the wilderness, going up from Jericho into the hill country of Bethel. And then, like I said, we're not going through all of those parts. The people of Joseph, Manasseh, and Ephraim received their inheritance. The territory of the people of Ephraim by their clan was as follows. Yada, yada, yada. Such is the inheritance of the tribe of the people of Ephraim by their clans, together with the towns that were set apart for the people of Ephraim within their inheritance of the Manassites, all those towns with their villages. However, verse 10, they did not drive out the Canaanites who lived in Gezer, so the Canaanites have lived in the midst of Ephraim to this day, but have been made to do forced labor. What do you take from that?
The Canaanites were going to be a thorn in Israel's flesh the rest of their days.
Yep. This is going to come back and bite them. It's like they came to this understanding, I'm done fighting. You done fighting? We'll just call it peace. How about you just work for us and we'll call it a day? I don't know, but not the way it was supposed to be. Okay. 17. The allotment was made for the people of Manasseh for the firstborn of Joseph. To Machir, the firstborn of Manasseh, the father of Gilead, were allotted Gilead of Bashan, that's up north on the right-hand side. That's in the area of what would later be Caesarea Philippi, because he was a man of war. The allotments were made to the rest of the people of Manasseh by their clans, listing of the clans. Now, verse 3, this is an interesting one, verse 3. And you say, well, what about the women? Here you go. Verse 3. Now, Zelophehad, rolls off the tongue, son of Hefer, son of Gilead, son of Machir, son of Manasseh, had no sons, only daughters. And these are the names of his daughters, etc. They approached, verse 4, Eleazar the priest and Joshua son of Nun and the leaders and said, Yahweh commanded Moses to give us an inheritance along with our brothers. So according to the mouth of Yahweh, he gave them an inheritance among the brothers of their father. Thus there fell to Manasseh 10 portions, besides the land of Gilead and Bashan, which is on the other side of the Jordan, because the daughters of Manasseh received an inheritance along with his sons. The land of Gilead was allotted to the rest of the people of Manasseh. Anything or comment you want to make there?
Do we know the reason Moses said
I think they said, hey, it wouldn't be fair. You know, we deserve an inheritance too, and our
but because of the father, not because of the girls. These girls were big and strong and worthy.
Yeah, I mean, it's not because they had any like warrior aspect. Yeah, I mean, they were just
because
they deserved it a lot.
Okay.
They came to Moses and said,
Yeah.
hey, when we get there, how about us?
Yeah. And now they're coming to Eleazar. They didn't go to Joshua, interestingly. They went to the high priest and said, hey, Moses said this, little reminder, put that back in your ear. And it was...
But why didn't all the daughters?
Well, because there were no others that we know of where there wasn't a son to have that inheritance. And remember, along with the inheritance came the responsibility to make sure that your family and your line were taken care of. So if you're the one that gets the inheritance, you had the responsibility for the rest of your siblings and brothers to make sure that they were taken care of too. So along with the blessings comes the responsibility. You know, there's a whole little Spider-Man thing, right? Great power comes with great responsibility. So it was a double thing. You get more, but more is expected. Nothing else? All right. 7. The territory of Manasseh reached from Asher to Micah Metheth. Which is set east of Shechem. The boundary goes eastward, Ephraim. These are south of Brook. Goes on the north side. Okay. 12. Yet the people of Manasseh could not take possession of those cities, but the Canaanites persisted in dwelling in the land. I like the way this word. Now, when the people of Israel grew strong, they put the Canaanites to forced labor, but they didn't utterly drive them out. So again, we have that same issue, and I like the way this is worded because it's an aspect of that they wouldn't go away. So it's just like, we tried, they wouldn't move, so, we gave up. But again, that wasn't the command. The The command was to take possession, utterly destroy. Because not only will it become a thorn in the side, but the worshiping of their gods will become an issue. Their practices. Remember, the whole aspect here of driving out the Canaanites and the Amorites and all these others, it was not just of God keeping his word to his people. It was that primarily. But it was also God's judgment against the people for their detestable practices. And things like some of the extra biblical books, talk more about some of the practices, which were just detestable. Like, just awful.
And yet the Israelites learned from it and do even worse.
Yeah. Yep. All right. 14. So the people of Joseph spoke to Joshua, saying, "Why have you given me but one lot and one portion as an inheritance, although I am a numerous people, since all along Yahweh has blessed me?" Joshua said to them, "If you're a numerous people, go up by yourselves to the forest. There clear the ground for yourselves in the land of the Perizzites and the Rephaim, since the hill country of Ephraim is too narrow for you." The people of Joseph said, "The hill country is not enough for us. Yet all the Canaanites who dwell in the plain have chariots of iron, both those in Beth Shean and its villages, and those in the valley of Jezreel." Joshua said to the house of Joseph, to Ephraim and Manasseh, "You are a numerous people. You have great power. You shall not have one allotment only, but the hill country shall be yours, for though it is a forest, you shall clear it and possess it to its furthest borders. You shall drive out the Canaanites, though they have chariots of iron, and though they are strong."
Kind of interesting, the countryside that you see in that whole region, that there were forests in that.
Yeah, because we don't see that today, right? And yeah, the whole area there was vastly different, and the area of some of the wilderness was a little different too than what we have today. And so, when we think of Israel, you kind of think more barren. You don't think lush and things. But
didn't this encompass some of Lebanon, the cedars
yes,
of Lebanon?
yeah. You hear about the cedars of Lebanon. There's a reason why you heard about that. It was a vast forest of wonderful large trees and stuff. I mean, it's the cedars of Lebanon which helped build the temple. Solomon used those cedars of Lebanon. Sounds like they're lazy. I don't know if they're selfish. I mean, he doesn't say that they don't have a rightful claim because of their size. Well, it is interesting. Yeah, I mean, you can't kind of get that aspect. But it's like, okay, all of Israel was fighting for all of the territory for the others. Why are they being singled out as you go do it yourselves instead of the rest of the warriors helping them out? I don't know. That's a curious thing in my mind. Yeah, do it yourself. And of course, the aspect of whether or not the other tribes are going to help them out or not, the last line is, or the last part here, if it's God doing the fighting, it really doesn't matter. Right? What's that? Yeah. And of course they didn't. They didn't do it. They didn't drive them out.
So the Canaanites had chariots of iron, but they didn't have any iron? I mean,
They did. I think this is more winding up. The way that it's written, they are very powerful. They have a lot of weapons of war, and it's not like the Israelites didn't have those things too. But they were probably outnumbered, and so it's basically saying they are greater than we are in that aspect.
Some of the other cultures were more advanced in their metallurgy than the Israelites.
I would dispute that.
The Philistines, I think, were good iron workers, and I think Israel had a lot of weapons because they captured them during the war. They took other people's weapons.
Yes, but they had, okay, I don't know if they used all of it for weapons of war, but they had people like Oholiab and some others who were fine craftsmen, like in creating the Ark of the Covenant and things like that, who had, literally, he was one of the ones that said he was given this part of the Spirit of the Lord in those areas, in those gifts. That's some craftsmanship. Yeah, Mary?
Also kind of tongue in cheek, Joshua said you were powerful, so you go deal with it.
You go deal with it.
But one thing, the nation of Israel has been traveling for a long time, whereas these countries are going into, these people have been established there for decades, maybe centuries, and thus being there a long time, they had manufacturing. Whereas the nation of Israel never was in one place to set up a factory to do their metallurgy and da-da-da.
Yeah, they had their infrastructure there, and they also have entrenchments and things. They had a home court advantage, right? Yeah, including manufacturing the thing. Yeah. True. All right, 18. Then the whole congregation of the people of Israel assembled at Shiloh and set up the tent of meeting there. The land lay subdued before them. That doesn't mean they've conquered all the land yet. But what they've done is subdued. Now, I find that interesting. I didn't see much written about this, but I find it interesting that the word used was subdued and not conquered. Right? It's kind of like they let some of these Canaanites and stuff stay. There's not fighting. They're working for us, but it doesn't mean that they're conquered. That's just an interesting choice of word.
So Shiloh was established as sort of the central religious
center during this time, yes.
Before Jerusalem.
Correct. Yeah, so the tabernacle is at Shiloh, the tent of meeting, all those things, those were at Shiloh at this point. So where Joshua and Eleazar and the heads of the tribes and stuff, where they are is at Shiloh making these allotments.
Wasn't Shiloh later named Salem?
I don't know. I don't think it's the same as the city that was Salem and then became Jerusalem. I don't think it's the same. But
I was thinking that Shiloh became Salem, that later became Jerusalem.
yeah, I don't think so. I think if I recall, Shiloh was north of Jerusalem, like about 20 miles or something.
Mine says Shiloh was likely destroyed following the Battle of Ebenezer and was replaced as central sanctuary by Jerusalem in the time of King David.
Let's see if we can find Shiloh.
This is 10 miles northeast of Bethel.
Of Bethel, okay.
It's a little east of the main road, next to the Starbucks.
Next to the Starbucks. There's Shiloh. Okay. Move out a little bit. Yeah, so it's further north than I anticipated. All right, so
Mine
you
says
see
it was 35 miles north of Jerusalem.
35 miles.
And the new site was chosen for the erection of the tabernacle, probably because of its central location.
Yeah,
The
so
covenant remained there for over 100 years until it was captured in a battle with the Philistines. That's in 1 Samuel 4, 1-11.
okay, there you go. So yeah, so you can see Shiloh is kind of centrally located amongst all of these things, so it'd be a little bit easier. Jerusalem would be down around here, so. Yeah.
So, Pastor,
Yeah.
the Jewish word for that subdued is
Yeah.
very interesting.
Yeah?
It's the kabosh.
It's what?
Kabosh.
Kibosh. Put a kibosh on things, huh?
Yeah, that's what it is, which means to subdue or to bring under subjection, bring into bondage.
Ah, interesting. Okay. Well, maybe I'm reading more into that than I thought. Okay.
So the whole congregation of the people of Israel assembled. Is that,
No, it's not all the Israelites. No, no. When it's talking about the leaders. Sometimes when it talks about the whole assembly or whole congregation, it might talk about the warriors or those who need to assemble. But the leaders that need to
there's
be.
women and kids and babies?
I mean, yeah, you still have, people have to take care of livestock and other places. And no, it's not everyone. Because it's expected that the people who hear these things are going to take that back and tell the others also.
Well, it should have said some of the congregation.
Well, you take the grammar and the wording up with the Lord there. How about that? Verse 2. There remained among the people of Israel 7 tribes whose inheritance had not yet been apportioned. So Joshua said to the people of Israel, how long will you put off going to take possession of the land which Yahweh, the God of your fathers, has given you? Okay, so what does this tell us? This tells you a couple things. What do you think?
Well, the land isn't, they didn't conquer the land because they were too lazy to do it.
Yeah, they haven't done all of it that they were supposed to, right? All of what God has promised. They haven't taken all of it in possession yet. That's one thing.
Well, Joshua is kind of saying, you guys take care of this. I thought he was the leader of this bunch.
Well, I mean, it brings, yes, but it brings to mind that maybe he gave them that task, and they're just dilly-dallying around and not actually doing it. I mean, look at the way he says it. How long will you put off doing this? I mean, so they're taking their sweet time. Are they afraid? Are they too comfortable? Are they lazy? What's going on?
It just sounds like he's giving them the task. He's like the project manager that they need to get busy doing.
They need to get busy doing it, yeah.
Well, there's a note in Genesis 49:10 that speaking that Shiloh back then was kind of like speaking of the Messiah to come. That it was like a proper name, Shiloh, even though it was a town.
I'd have to do a word study on that, but that would be an interesting thing to see. Yeah. Also, I mean, what else you see here? I see how many tribes were left? 7. The majority. The majority of the number of tribes, not the majority of the people, but the majority of the tribes are sitting on their hands.
It's almost like this a repeat of the deal about going across the Jordan thing.
Kinda, yeah.
Well, we're afraid because the guys are too big.
Yeah. What's holding you back? If God is the one fighting for you, what's holding you back?
Right.
It already says that he's already provided it for you. All we have to do is just take it.
Yep. Which Yahweh, the God of your fathers, has given you. It's not will give you. Has given you.
But it doesn't sound like Joshua is in each one of these regions.
True.
Making sure they go forward with conquering people.
Yeah, that's true.
They're just kind of doing what they want to do or deciding, we got enough or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's also strange that some were just complaining they didn't have enough, and it's still unconquered land out there.
Yeah. All right, 4. Provide 3 men from each tribe. I will send them out, that they may set out and go up and down the land. They shall write a description of it with a view to their inheritances, and then come to me. They shall divide it into 7 portions. Judah shall continue in his territory on the south, and the house of Joseph shall continue in their territory on the north. the house of Joseph, meaning Ephraim and Manasseh. You shall describe the land in 7 divisions, kind of a Lewis and Clark type of thing going here. Describe the land in 7 divisions and bring the description here to me. I will cast lots for you here before Yahweh our God. He's going to say that multiple times here. I will cast lots before you here and before Yahweh our God. The Levites have no portion among you. And he mentions this one several times too. He talks about that with the Levites. He's going to say that several times. The Levites have no portion. For the priesthood of Yahweh is their inheritance. Gad and Reuben, the half-tribe of Manasseh, they've received theirs beyond the Jordan on the eastward side where Moses, the servant of Yahweh, gave them. So the men arose, they went, and Joshua charged those who went to write the description of the land, saying, Go up and down the land and write a description and return to me. And I will cast lots for you here before Yahweh in Shiloh. So the men went and passed up and down in the land and wrote in a book a description of it by towns in 7 divisions. They came to Joshua in the camp of Shiloh. Joshua cast lots for them in Shiloh before Yahweh. And there Joshua apportioned the land to the people of Israel, to each his portion. And then it's going to go through for what each of those was.
It's interesting to me that not only here, but even in the New Testament, a frequent mechanism of decision-making was rolling dice.
It was lots, yeah. Yeah.
And we don't do that today.
I
in Las Vegas.
I know that there are some that have narrowed down, like pastoral candidates, to a couple and have cast lots to decide what, yeah. It does happen. It's very rare, but.
So it's not it's not anti-biblical.
Well, I think you have a hard time saying it was because of both Old and New Testament examples.
Yeah. But it seems that was a common practice because at the cross, the Roman soldiers
cast lots for his clothing. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but it wasn't for all of his clothing, but it was for like the tunic that was singular woven. It was one piece. That one cast lot, and which was also prophesied about in Psalm 22.
Yeah, and then they cast lots for the 2 men that would take Judah's place.
Yeah, right. Matthias and I didn't forget the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that poor guy. He was a faithful guy. We all forget his name because he wasn't chosen.
Politics.
Yeah.
Place is forgotten about.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and the thing is this is where it can ride on the line. You got to be careful because it was not an uncommon practice to use things like that as divination in non-godly ways. Right? So you've got to be careful saying that these were directed by Yahweh for his purposes in this aspect.
Okay, do you know those tribes that are east of the Jordan, when did they end up losing their land? Because that's now modern day Syria and Jordan.
Yeah, I don't know historically when that happened, but yeah, that's an interesting aspect. And actually, when we get a little bit later to it, because there's going to be a little skirmish, possible skirmish, kicked up when they finally go back to their land. Joshua says, "Go back to your place. You guys will be good." And then there's a little incident where all of Israel comes against those 3 and says, "Hey, what are you doing?" We'll get to that later. But yeah, and what's so fascinating about that aspect is, was it a godly thing for them to have an inheritance east of the Jordan? That's a question I'm asking.
Well, didn't Moses assign the land?
Moses allowed it. They came to Moses and he allowed it. But was that a proper intention? It wasn't part of the land that God actually promised.
But wasn't Moses gone before they actually...
Before they actually, well, no, it's like Moses says, yes, you can have that, but of course they hadn't taken full possession of it yet. But he allotted it to them. But I don't think it was a part of the land that God actually promised Abraham and his descendants. So that's one aspect. And the thing is, when we get into this little dust-up later on, there's an aspect of where they feel and are then physically separated from the rest of the tribes. That's going to have an impact.
So
Yeah.
why is our loving God giving land to these tribes, but before you can have that land, you have to kick these other people off of it? Seems like that's
It's an aspect not just of him fulfilling his promise that he made to Abraham, but it's a divine retribution and judgment against the people who were living there, who were doing detestable things, and sacrificing to pagan gods, and sacrificing children, and doing all kinds of ungodly things. So it's a judgment against those.
so that's why he was trying to get rid of it.
Yeah. And he didn't want that aspect to affect his children. You know, that monkey see, monkey do. You know, these other people are worshiping gods this way, we're going to do the same thing. All right. And Amin, which means son of the right hand. The lot of the tribe of the people of Benjamin, according to its clans, came up, and the territory allotted to it fell between the people of Judah and the people of Joseph. On the north side, their boundary began at the Jordan. The boundary goes up to the shoulder, etc., yada, yada, yada. So it's like, the boundary goes up the mountain. Boy, the boundary goes up, boundary goes down. The Jordan, verse 20. The Jordan forms its boundary on the eastern. This is the inheritance of the people of Benjamin, according to their clans, boundary by boundary all around. The cities of the tribe of the people of Benjamin, according to their clans. So these are the cities listed. Nope, not going to read all those. Last part. 14 cities with their villages. This is the inheritance of the people of Benjamin, according to its clans. The inheritance of Simeon. Now this is the one that's in the midst of Judah. Yeah. Yeah, they're cities would be more infrastructure and stuff as opposed to villages that would be smaller and stuff that would be scattered. I mean, we use similar terminology now.
But these cities were established before the Israelites got there?
Yes.
They belonged to other tribes of people?
Right. All right, 19. We're cooking with gas. Second lot, remember, second lot. So the people, those people they sent out have come back with a description of all the areas that they can use, and now they're dividing up these 7 tribes by lots for each of these areas. So the second lot, they just did Benjamin, the second lot comes to Simeon. Second lot came out for Simeon. For the tribe of the people of Simeon, according to their clans, and their inheritance was in the midst of the inheritance of the people of Judah. So the area for Judah was bigger than Judah needed, must have been the case, and so they said, hey, there's the section that we can do within the midst. So Judah is going to surround this inheritance for Simeon. And there, etc. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the people of Simeon according to their clan. The inheritance of the people of Simeon formed part of the territory of the people of Judah, because the portion from the people of Judah was too large for them. The people of Simeon obtained an inheritance in the midst of their inheritance. In other words, they were surrounded. Inheritance for Zebulun. So if we go back up, so you can kind of see. So we talked about the first lot fell to Benjamin. This is Benjamin right here. This little orange area. I know you can't read it, but maybe you can kind of see just. And then Simeon's down here with Judah all around it. And then it's going to say Issachar, which is right here. So that's the next one. So they must have said, okay, the first lot is going to be this section. Second lot is going to be here. The third lot's going to be here. Now, which tribe is going to get which?
Must have agreed divide it up 7 ways, but we don't know who gets what.
Right.
Until we get back.
Right, exactly. Exactly. All right.
So the lots were necessary because they wouldn't decide to go take the land then.
Evidently. Yeah, now some of these obviously some areas had been conquered already, like that area of Judah. That had been done. Part of Benjamin, that had been done. But some of these other ones had not been fully taken yet. Or it could be the aspect of, hey, all of these tribes are just sitting there and not going to finish the job. All right, verse 10. Third lot came up for the people of Zebulun, according to their clans. The territory of the inheritance reached as far as Sarid. Boundary goes from here to there and everywhere. 12 cities and their villages. This is the inheritance of the people of Zebulun, according to their clans, verse 16, their cities and their villages. Then Issachar. All right, Issachar is next. Let's see where Issachar is. Issachar is... sorry, that was Zebulun. This is Issachar. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth lot came out for Issachar, the people of Issachar according to their clans. 23. The inheritance of the tribe of the people of Issachar, the cities with their passes along the east towards, these cities with their villages. Oh, I'm sorry, that was, went back, wrong way. Or in their villages. All right, 24. Fifth lot came out for Asher. Asher's along the coast. Asher's that would be, I would think, a very desirable area. That's right here. And I believe that this is where a lot of the trees of Lebanon and stuff would have been. But I'm not positive on that. Fifth lot came out for the people of Asher, according to their clans. 29. Then the boundary turns to these 31. This is the inheritance of, right before that. 22 cities with their villages. The inheritance of the tribe of the people of Asher, according to their clans. These cities with their villages. Naphtali. Where is Naphtali? Naphtali, right here. Yeah, right there. And like I say, some of these, you get some that will look a little bit different. So this is a little bit different, but Naphtali right
there. They get these territories and their cities and villages, so.
Sort of, mostly, usually.
Well, I mean, the charge was to go and destroy the people, drive them out, but they probably preserved the infrastructure that was there, I guess.
I don't know how much infrastructure they actually kept, because in a lot of cases it talks about, like Caleb, when he took Hebron, that he rebuilt the city. You know, so when you're destroying the city and its people, who knows how much is left? But yeah, it's like there's a gift for all of these things, but then there's exceptions that are given. There's exceptions for, okay, this city's going to be a city of refuge. This city, part of it's going to be for pasture lands of Levi. You know, so it's you're given this, and you're given with one hand, and some's taken away with another in some cases. For Caleb's situation, Caleb's city was also a city of refuge, and it was also a city for Levi. So how much was for Caleb? How much was for these others? They'll get a little bit into that, but not a whole lot.
Well, the evidence of all of these takeovers through time, they call these mounds a tell, and they've discovered through archaeological digs
Well, yeah, and that's usually the case for most ancient cities is that you take and you build on top of the old one.
Yeah, so it's called a tell.
Yeah, and it always it cracks me up though because it is a very inexact science in that aspect. Because it's not always the case. Because I mean, you think about it. If you're building on top of something that's already there, what are you building with? You have to build with something that you took from someplace else. Well, if you took it from someplace else, then that strata is not going to be the same, is it? Right? I mean, we're not making new Earth to just put on top of an old one. It's coming from somewhere.
Well, they're just gonna take the stones they knocked down and rearrange them.
In some cases they did, and in fact, in a lot of cases they did that. Yeah. But like when they're looking at Gilead, was it Gilead that they burned right after Jericho and Ai? No, it was Ai. It was Ai. That there is a layer where we think Ai was a layer that was just kind of charred. It was just black all around this layer, like it had been completely burned. Well, was that when the Israelites were there? Possible. I mean, we can't say for certain. I don't think anyone was there that's around now, but it's a pretty good indication. All right, Naphtali and Dan. Naphtali. The sixth lot came for the people of Naphtali, according to their clans. Then a bunch of words. Right before 39. 19 cities with their villages. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the people of Naphtali, according to their clans, the cities with their villages. The seventh lot came out for the tribe of the people of Dan, according to their clans, and the territory of its inheritance. Territory 47. When the territory of the people of Dan was lost to them, the people of Dan went up and fought against Leshem, and after capturing it and striking it with the sword, they took possession of it and settled in it, calling Leshem Dan, after the name Dan, their ancestor. So they had a different name, which was not uncommon. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the people of Dan, according to their clans, their cities, and their villages.
So did that mean that they took the land and then there was a battle?
Yeah, it said in this case that it says there was a battle. Yeah, so
Is it the people of Dan? Is that when the territory of the people of Dan
was lost to the previous people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's Dan is right here. So and so when we talk later about the northern and southern kingdoms, your southern kingdom is going to be from here, encompassing Judah and Bethlehem down here, and then the rest of this is the northern kingdom. But to the question before, what was this considered and when? And I don't know. I don't know how that happened. But if you remember, Assyria, which is right about here, they came in and they were a vast kingdom. They were actually a huge kingdom, and then they went down, and then they kind of came back. And their kingdom went way up around over here. And they came in up around here, and they took them over and took the northern kingdom into exile. Does anyone remember the date? I don't know. You're pretty old. You might have been there. 722 BC. 722 BC is when Assyria took the northern kingdom. And then Assyria was defeated and stuff in Babylon, which was south of them, and that kingdom came to prominence over Assyria.
But those 10 tribes vanished.
Well, I mean, some of them returned later, but yeah, we still call them the lost tribe, even though we also talk about a remnant.
Well, also Dan is the lost tribe.
Yeah, we don't hear really much about Dan at all after that. But Babylon, they come over and they take over the southern kingdom in 586, 587 BC. So between 587 and 722, you've got quite a bit of time there when they're gone and they're looking here and they're like, we're fine, we're going to continue on in things, even though they saw what happened. And they did things, as it says, even worse than the ones before. What is interesting when we talk about the kingdoms is, I don't think there was one single king in the northern kingdom in Israel. I don't think there was one single king that was described as good. I have to look back, but I don't think that. But in the southern kingdom, you had some. You had some that were good and some that were bad. Most of them were bad, and then a couple was like, they found the book of the law, they found God, and they instituted things. So they kind of went back and forth. But that's many, many years into the future at this point. Whoops. There we go. When they had finished distributing the several territories of the land as inheritances, the people of Israel gave an inheritance among them to Joshua, son of Nun. By command of Yahweh, they gave him the city that he asked, Timnath Serah, in the hill country of Ephraim. And he rebuilt the city and settled in it. These are the inheritance that Eleazar the priest and Joshua, son of Nun, and the heads of the fathers' houses of the tribes of the people of Israel, distributed by lot at Shiloh before the Yahweh at the entrance to the tent of meeting. So they finished dividing the land. Anything there?
So Joshua and Caleb got extra stuff.
Some extra stuff. Yeah, Caleb maybe not as much as maybe he was anticipating. I don't know. All right, the cities of refuge. We'll kind of have to breeze through some of this as well. Yahweh said to Joshua, say to the people of Israel, appoint the cities of refuge of which I spoke to you through Moses. This comes from Numbers and it comes from Deuteronomy. Do you remember what these cities of refuge were for? Don't read ahead.
Cooling off period.
What's that?
Cooling off period.
Kind of a cooling off period. For someone that an unintentional murder, a manslaughter.
Yeah, it wasn't premeditated. They could flee to that city.
Right.
Until the case could be judged. While they were in that city, the relatives couldn't come after them.
Yeah, and it lasted until they had safety there until when? The high priest died. So if a new high priest comes in who's really young, you're stuck there.
So these were sanctuary cities.
These are sanctuary cities. Yes. The manslayer.
Advantage of it.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Premeditated. If there was cold-blooded or there was something that was intentional, you're done. It doesn't matter where you go. Not going to matter. The manslayer who strikes any person without intent or unknowingly may flee there. They shall be for you a refuge for the avenger of blood. He shall flee to one of these cities and shall stand at the entrance of the gate of the city and explain his case to the elders of that city. Then they shall take him into the city and give him a place, and he shall remain with them. And if the avenger of blood pursues him, they shall not give him up the manslayer into his hand, because he struck his neighbor unknowingly and did not hate him in the past. And he shall remain in that city until he has stood before the congregation for judgment, until the death of him who is high priest at the time. Then the manslayer may return to his own town and his own home, to the town from which he fled. So, they set apart Kadesh in Galilee and the hill country of Naphtali, Shechem in the hill country of I'm not going to name all of these two, because there's a lot of them. These, verse 9, these were the cities designated for all the people of Israel and for the strangers sojourning among them, that anyone who killed a person without intent could flee there, so that he might not die by the hand of the avenger of blood, till he stood before the congregation.
Why is that if you did murder someone with intent,
Oh yeah, you're done.
your vigilante justice could prevail?
Well, I think it implies that if that happened, you're dead. I don't think he's going to really care who it's going to be by at that point.
Well, but the family takes matters into their own hands.
But the judgment for murder was death anyway. So you could say you killed someone who didn't have an extra kin or didn't have someone who avenged him, you're still going to die. The judgment's still there. All right, we're going to stop there. Some interesting parts of the cities and pasture lands, the Levi. Hey, see, I told you we were going to make it through the rest of this fairly fast because it's just the parts that just too much. Hold on a second. All right, let's go with the benediction. Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. Lord look upon you with favor and give you his peace. Amen. Bless. Have a good week.